I was talking with a new client this week, and when any client starts with me, whether that's in my private partnership or inside Mom Founders Inner Circle, you fill out what is called my VIP business assessment. And this is a very in-depth assessment that gives me a full picture of you and your business. And it's really, really insightful for me and being able to advise with a deeper level of understanding, because I don't believe that we should just advise based upon the experience and knowledge that we have. I believe that we need to gain understanding of where other people are and then proceed. And so it's something that I incorporated, and recently was asking a client to fill hers out so we could start. And I noticed that I had to follow up with her on this. And it was interesting because we were messaging and talking about other things. And then she filled it out and she said to me, I noticed that I was avoiding filling this out. And I was avoiding filling this out because I knew that there were questions that were making me confront things that I know that I need to change that I've been avoiding. And I so appreciated her honesty. And it really made me think about how much we avoid changes we know we need to make. And so today, I want to talk about how we differentiate between the discomfort that is red flags that are calls and signs that we need to make a change, and the discomfort that is part of us evolving into something bigger and better. Because sometimes we mix these things up. And what I've noticed is that so many women waver in evolving and hold themselves back in evolving. And I did a whole podcast episode on different ways that successful women hold them back that you can listen to. But I want to specifically talk about these differentiators and how to know if this is something how to know if what you are experiencing is a bad discomfort, if you will, or a good discomfort. And so to begin, it's important that I address something very real. And that is how much the discomfort that we know in entrepreneurship, especially, has been normalized. So a lot of the red flags that we're going to be talking about in this episode are things that are common but shouldn't be normalized. And I say that because not a single day goes by that I don't see something on whatever platform promoting the red flags that we're going to talk about today and calling it a part of growth. And that's why there's so much confusion, because women have come to believe that these feelings that we are experiencing and the experience that we're having in our day-to-day lives is a part of the path that we've chosen as mothers and entrepreneurs. There is a lot of victim mindset. There is a lot of being the martyr. There is a lot of accepting things that are unacceptable as part of the path that I don't agree with and that I don't stand for. And so I'm starting with this because if you're coming into listening to this episode with beliefs surrounding what success looks like and what it takes to build success, I want to challenge you to have an open mind in listening to this and understand that the angle that I teach and preach is through the lens of longevity, of sustainability, of perseverance, and resilience without self-sacrifice. What I believe and what my clients come to believe after they work through the discomfort of change is that you can have great public success while also having a really fulfilling and happy life. And you would be surprised at how many people only have one or the other. Some people have neither. So let's talk about these red flags. So these red flags, I'm going to list a bunch of specific things that a lot of my clients experience before coming to me, and sometimes still during, because they are normal human emotions. But I'm going to list these things, and if I'm pinging, if I'm resonating, and you're like, I'm experiencing a lot of these things, I don't want you to judge yourself or feel badly about yourself. That is not my intention. My intention is to call to action. Again, the things that we are accepting as normal because they're common. And so let's start with anxiety. Anxiety is a normal human emotion. We all experience anxiety. Anxiety can easily be reframed into excitement depending on what we're looking at. But high levels of anxiety, living in fight or flight mode, is detrimental to our minds and to our bodies. But we have said that this is part of entrepreneurship. It doesn't need to be. Feelings should be felt in varying ways and at varying frequencies. And we need to pay attention to how often we are feeling these things. So if you are frequently anxious, if you find yourself not, on Sundays not wanting to start the week on Monday, if you find yourself not wanting to go into your office or sign into your home office, either way, if you find yourself struggling with insomnia, these are signs that something needs to change. If you are struggling with high levels of stress on a consistent basis, not all stress is bad. A great example of this is training, right? So when we train in any sort of high intensity, we challenge our bodies and we challenge our bodies to adapt to that. The issue with high levels of stress, again, then we're dealing with cortisol, then we come back into fight or flight. High levels of stress for long periods of time are detrimental for our minds and our bodies. I'm probably not telling you anything that you don't know. So stress, anxiety, insomnia, headaches. Headaches are a very common issue. We just accept this as normal. Not sleeping enough. If you don't have insomnia, if you are just working so much that you're only sleeping, if you're sleeping less than 7 hours per night, something needs to change. Unless you have a newborn, because let's be honest, that is part of it that we sign up for. If you are experiencing a heavy sense of dread, right, which could also feel like anxiety, that is a call for action and change. If you are living in a place where you are highly reactive, to where you are not able to process or feel like you don't have space to breathe, and instead you feel like everything is just getting thrown at you and you're just trying to handle all these different things getting thrown at you, that reactivity is really detrimental towards our leadership, right? And so often all these things are intertwined, right? So then we have overwhelm. Overwhelm, again, normal human emotion. All of us get overwhelmed sometimes. Overwhelm is usually a sign of too much overlap. Overwhelm is just simply, it's too much is happening, right? Too much is on your plate. Overwhelm is just too much. So really, for all of these things, we want to evaluate the frequency and the depth, right? Like if we are having panic attacks, if we are having, detrimental thoughts, obviously this is where we really need the support of a therapist and somebody who is licensed to help us through these emotions. But I really love the combination of therapy and coaching, because therapy can really help you understand yourself and your emotions. And coaching can really help you with forward momentum and taking action to feel differently and taking action on those changes that need to be made. And so it's a great pairing when you can do both. So these are all big red flags. And from each of these things, we have a lot of smaller things, right? So if you are disconnected from your kids or your partner, you're not, apathy is a big one. You struggle with chronic cycles of burnout, right? So apathy can be a result of burnout. So these things we need to pay attention to. These are things that we're registering that are happening, but then we're not doing what actually needs to be done in ourselves or our businesses to create change. So if you're experiencing these things, it's like, okay, raise my hand. I'm going through some of this stuff. These are things you don't want to avoid, right? So there's things that we want to look and inquire deeper into as to why they're happening. There's a difference in discomfort that we want to embrace and work through, and discomfort that is these red flags. And that's why I wanted to really tell you the difference. And so these are things that are red flags. These are things that are telling you, if you're experiencing these on a frequent basis, that is something that needs to be evaluated and there needs to be change. That is not something that you want to accept as normal. On the other side of this, we have discomfort that we need to embrace. So the issue is that a lot of people are embracing the discomfort of anxiety, high stress, overwhelm, and those are the things that we're normalizing. That's the problem. Those things are calls to action. What we should be embracing is discomfort that is rooted in fear. And so these sorts of discomforts look like people pleasing, procrastination, perfectionism. This is the discomfort that happens at the point when you decide you want to run your business differently and be different, and you make the decision that you are going to make whatever changes necessary. And at first, there is almost like a motivational high that you get of, okay, I'm ready, I'm doing this, no plan B. We're doing this. I'm going all in on these changes. And you're motivated and you're excited, even though you're scared. That excitement outweighs that fear. And then when you get into actually take action on the intentional change, that's where we see the wavering. And this is where I'm inviting you into understanding that you need to embrace the discomfort of the unknown here, because the red flag discomfort is being embraced because it's what you know and what you've normalized. These things that are actually the keys to your greatest potential and your greatest possibility and your greatest impact, and sitting through this type of discomfort, these types of discomfort, these are the things that need to be embraced. And so we have that initial motivation. We recognize, okay, I'm going to set new standards. I'm going to set new boundaries. I'm going to have hard conversations. I'm going to change the way that I run my team. I'm going to have to maybe let go of some people. I'm going to have to hire new people. I'm going to have to change the things that I offer in my business, the services that I do, how I structure those services. It can feel like a lot. And just that feeling, then we're overwhelmed, right? So we need to break these things down, and we need to recognize that we can do one of these things at a time, like having a hard conversation. That's something that if we avoid, will contribute to the stress and anxiety. Versus if we recognize it needs to happen, then we do it. On the other side of that is something that is so great, which is building trust and keeping promises with yourself. And your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship. Your relationship with yourself and how you treat yourself and how you feel about yourself dictates the impact that you make and how well you can lead others. And so the discomforts that are signs of things that we need to lean into are anything that we feel fear of the unknown around. So when you start having thoughts that are associated like, what if they're going to be mad at me? What if they quit? What if I impact, their family by firing them? When you start to have these fear-based thoughts, the what if, and you start to spiral, that's where we see the wavering, and then we back up. And this is why a lot of people don't get long-term change, because habit building is built with consistency and repetition. Habit building is built with consistency and repetition. And so if we are not consistent in our behaviors, even when we feel wobbly because it's new, then we default to old behaviors. Right now, for most people, it feels easier to live in the discomfort of the known with the stress and anxiety and overwhelm and disconnection and apathy and burnout. They know that. And so because it's known, it feels easier, even though it's hard and you feel like shit. The discomforts that you need to lean into are the fear associated discomforts, in that you intuitively know that it's a change you need to make. And that's where trusting yourself comes in here. So I hope that you can see the differentiators here. I hope that you can recognize what you've probably been avoiding, and you can see these red flags and these call for change, and you can take it and say, okay, well, I know that I'm feeling anxiety and stress because I'm working too much, but I'm afraid that if I work less hours, I might not make as much money, or my clients might be mad. So then you have a choice. You back up and you keep the stress and anxiety, or you move forward and you say, I need to honor myself so that I can be around to lead these people, to lead this movement, to make this impact. Because that truly is the choice. And that's where we have it wrong. We have it wrong that if we choose, we have it wrong in thinking that if we choose ourselves, that means we are not choosing others. When in fact, choosing yourself, choosing to prioritize your well-being, your happiness, your fulfillment, actively contributes to the way that you lead, to the impact that you make, to the way that you motivate and inspire others. You want to learn to avoid stress and anxiety and overwhelm, not because you shouldn't feel those feelings, but because those things should tell you that something needs to be changed. And we want to learn to embrace the uncertainty that is on the other side of your evolution. Evolving is change. And if you're not evolving, you're not moving forward. And as leaders, we are supposed to evolve. Really, I believe that as humans, we are supposed to continuously evolve. So these are the differences. There's the discomfort that is red flag discomfort, and there is discomfort that is fear-based, that is an invitation. And so now that you know this, you can ask yourself the question of, what am I avoiding because I'm afraid? And what am I afraid of? And when you start to ask yourself those questions, then you'll see the answers, and you can ask yourself, is that true? Is it true that if I have new boundaries that protect my peace, that all of my clients will leave me? If you are working with somebody that you set a boundary with that is in protection of your well-being, and they don't receive that or understand that, is that somebody that you really want to serve? So now that you know the difference between the types of discomfort, and now you know what to do when you feel these different types of discomfort. If it's a red flag, you ask what I need to change. If it's a red flag, you ask the question, what needs to change to reduce the frequency of this emotion? or reduce the root cause of this emotion. And if it's a fear-based discomfort, you inquire deeper into what you're actually afraid of. Most people are afraid of failing, so it keeps them on the perfectionism hamster wheel. But you need to know what you're afraid of so you stop wavering. Because the more time that you waver, the more time you waste. And time is our greatest asset. So I hope that as a mother and a business owner, that you're holding yourself to a standard that is high. And I hope that because you're holding yourself to that standard, that you show your children, your team, and your clients that your well-being doesn't need to be sacrificed for success. And in fact, what needs to happen is for us to stop normalizing red flag discomfort as part of success. As you become more established and more seasoned in business, you recognize that the changes that create the results that you want for your business and your life are a result of you changing. And the more you refuse to look at yourself, the more you stay the same, the more you experience these red flag emotions. So I hope that I've given you something to think about. I hope that this has been insightful for you, that has been a call to action for you. And I hope that this has made you understand that business doesn't need to feel like this all the time. And you're not wrong for feeling this way because it's been normalized for so long. And as always, my inbox is open to you. If you are on the edge and you have recognized that you have been wavering, that so many times you've tried to make the decision to change the way that you run your business, and you know that there is deeper level change that you need within yourself in the way that you operate, and you know that there are changes necessary in the business, in your boundaries, your standards, and really your team, your leadership, and it feels too heavy to carry, understand that you're not supposed to make all those changes by yourself. What helps to facilitate change is accountability. Because when you're wavering back and forth, when you're uncertain, when you're wobbly, you need someone sturdy. And that's the position that I play for so many of my clients, because I've needed that person for myself throughout all of my changes. And so if you are in a position where you recognize that you need to do things differently, and you want to wake up in the morning and you want to actually love your life, and you don't want to dread your business, you don't want to feel anxiety around your business, and you're tired of your business taking away from your family and feeling like it's just black and white, I think we should have a conversation about what's actually possible. You have every single day as an opportunity to change for the better. And I hope you know what to lean into and what to look at as signs for something is not okay. And I hope this will help you differentiate between those things so that you can make more powerful decisions. And if you need somebody to partner with you, to walk alongside you, my inbox is open. I don't always have coaching spots open, but my inbox is open. Right now, we do have some spots open in the Mom Founders Inner Circle. It's my privately led business program. And the great thing about this program is, even though it's in a group format, you still get personalized, customized, not just strategic guidance, but also partnership for change for the better. If you have questions, if this episode has resonated with you, please send me a message. I'm here to listen. I'm here to help. And I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week.